17 years ago, there was a beautiful meteor shower that resulted in silhouettes rising from shadows cast onto the ground. They would later be known as Kakushin. The Kakushin were everywhere, terrifying and slaughtering anyone in sight. Along with their frequent attacks came the appearance of 12 dungeons. The beautiful meteor shower was now seen as a calamity rather than a thing of beauty, and this era would come to be known in history as the Calamity War. 1 year into the Calamity War, 13 humans stood out from the rest after slaying several of the shadow creatures known as Kakushin and conquering the dungeons. In the end, it was a standoff between the Kakushin master and a man Malachi. 5 years later, the world is still somewhat ravaged due to the Calamity War. Malachi now has a wife and a newborn son named Rai. A man barely clinging to life stumbles into their village and collapses upon entry. He explains that he was attacked by a powerful, nimble silhouette with strange abilities. The only conclusion that made sense was that this man fought a Kakushin that, somehow, survived the war. Upon hearing of this new threat, Malachi was determined to hunt down and eliminate this threat before its fangs ever reached his family. 12 years later, in the den of night, a 12-year-old boy is aura farming in the middle of his training. We see the fit bro. The boy is none other than Rai, the son of the hero Malachi, wearing inherited drip from his father. While out training, Rai comes across a Jay in a dirty robe as torn as his inherited drip. "I nephew," the traveler begged, "would you happen to have any spare money or food?" "No OG," Rai replied, lacking any sympathy in his voice. "I'm on a 90-day run, so I ain't even got it right now." The OG starts hating and calls out some YNs to jump our boy. But a hero is never lacking. Rai gets to aura farming again even though the YNs charge at our boy because flexing don't gotta make sense. Trying to jump AG, but Rai ain't going for that ho shit. Rai leapt forward, leaving cracks in the ground. The main character energy is immaculate. Rai clashed swords with the J at a ferocious speed. Their eyes locked as their swords connected. The two struggle for a moment as if they were evenly matched. Rai's body lowered and he performed a sweep kick and slashed foe Nem up out of there. Noticing the others drawing closer, he takes his sword, chucks it at one of the ops rushing in. The op blocks the hurling blade, but it's Gucci cuz Rai kicks OL boy in the face at full force, then backflips 5 meters into the air. He then propels off of a tree. Whilst flying through the air, another op starts charging up that fi and get to shooting at my boy, but a hero is never lacking. Rai points his sword at the blast, attempting to parry the attack. The blast hits his sword and creates a shockwave that hurls a RN uncontrollably. Then shit starts getting wild because Black Air Force energy starts surrounding the premises and YNs get to screaming like Shorty from that movie that saw a monster under the bed. One by one YNs were picked off until only 2 were left. One was acting real pussy while the other was fighting off shadows with that fi and the stick. Rai was still recovering but smirked. "This is my chance," he thought before gripping his stick. The YN fighting off the Kakushin started to become overwhelmed. The shadows were spamming and button mashing like crazy. The monster was mere millimeters from the old boy's body but burst into blue light before touching him. Our boy Rai got to slicing creatures up like you work in the back at a family-owned deli. Rai Tom bout trying to team up cuz he ain't trying to end up cooked like all them YNs that disappeared. The unlikely duo stood back to back as they prepared to defend themselves from the Kakushin moving in circles around them. One of the Kakushin charged at them and the lame dude let the MF sing like Big Gap. The shadow's body stretched and bent around the blast to avoid being hit. Simultaneously, Rai decided he wanna be a gymnast, did a backflip landing on top of the monster and slicing through it. They was lit but they couldn't celebrate, because another charged directly at Rai as if to avenge its F-homie. The YN thrust his blade forward to stab the abomination while simultaneously aiming that fi at point-blank range. Rai used his quick reaction speed to slice upward at the same enemy. There was nowhere for the shadow to go. The 2 unlikely allies obliterated it. The other Kakushin danced toward them maliciously. The 2 shadows approaching them were sliced in half and faded away particle by particle. Neither Rai nor the YN were responsible and the other op that survived was nowhere to be seen. Knelt on one knee was Adrian, Rai's godfather and sensei. "Yo ass supposed to be training, but I see you out here getting your ass whooped," Adrian addressed his pupil. "Bitch," Rai replied, "ain't you supposed to be back at the crib?" Rai looks in the distance then says, "So you stalking and snitching now, Shanti?" "Damn, guess you ain't as lame as I thought," Shanti reveals herself.